Hi everyone, today in the show I'm going to show you how to look like Dipper from Gravity Falls. This is a really easy cosplay makeup tutorial. It's just lengthy, but it's a really easy look to do. It just takes a moment to get to it. But if you are new here, why are you not subscribed? Well, just hit the subscribe button, join the It's Not Very Effective family, and then you'll know when I upload. I'm doing one of these cosplay makeup tutorials every 2 to 3 weeks or so. So hit the subscribe button, you'll know when I do them, and you can look like your favorite animated characters. And on top of that, I do brand reviews, so like, you've got nothing to lose. Subscribing is free. So a bit of information about Dipper. He's from the show Gravity Falls, which in turn I think is by Disney. I watched it on the Disney streaming service, so I knew it was really popular, but I didn't want to like get invested in case it didn't live up to everything I wanted it to be. And then I finally watched it on a whim, and I watched all 2 seasons in like 3 days. It was ridiculous. The characters in that show have quite a stylized look, so this is an interpretation of Dipper because no one can look exactly how he looks. He's like in the same camp as Finn, where it's impossible to look like that, so you just kind of have to interpret it. But I've talked for long enough, so let's just get into doing the makeup. So at this point in time, I've got quite a strong idea of what I'm gonna go for. Dipper's quite like natural looking, so we want to go for like very animated, very full-on, full coverage makeup that looks natural. So like always, we are going to start by priming the face, and we're going to go in with the Girl On Gold Flake Primer. I like to take just 1 or 2.5 pumps. It's more like 1.5. If you've never watched me before, the reason I use this particular primer is because it gives the foundation a slight luminosity that makes it seem very natural, but also it will make sure your makeup won't move all day long. And like obviously if you're at a convention, making sure your makeup's not going to move is kind of like top priority. Then we're going to go in with the Air Flash by Dior. We want to keep it kind of centralized. We don't want to use it all over the face. We want it to be very centralized, only really where we have pores. The reason I'm only using this in the center of my face is because I want the pores to be blurred around here and look very airbrushed, but I actually recently changed from a medium coverage foundation for cosplay to a full coverage, so I can't put a sheer coverage then a full coverage on all over my face, because then things are just going to cake up in a bad way. So for our main foundation, we're going to go in with the Born This Way foundation from Too Faced. I actually reviewed this the other day. I'll have the link to the review somewhere around here. But long story short, I really liked it. I was surprised that it was a full coverage foundation, I won't lie. But I take 2 pumps on my beauty sponge and I just dot it around and blend it out. And with the primer I've used, this foundation is so good. I can't express that enough. And because we want this to look very airbrushed, and it will make everything look very seamless and like a cartoon character, you really can't blend enough. I always say, when you think you're done blending, go a little bit more for cosplay. For concealer, we're going to go in with the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. This has become my new favorite concealer. It's so full coverage, but cooling. It goes so well with the foundation it was made for. It doesn't cake up. It doesn't settle into my fine lines like the Tarte Shape Tape kind of did after a while. Like it's the full package for me. And I haven't seen a single person complain about this concealer, which is like amazing. The only thing I've seen people complain about is lots of people wish that there was a wider shade range. Like for me, I'm very pale. This shade isn't exactly pale enough for me, but I make it work. And there aren't enough shades for people with very dark skin, I've seen lots of people saying, which is a surprise because Too Faced recently worked with a YouTuber called Eyeliner on expanding their shade range. So you would have thought they would have incorporated those shades into this, but at the same time, I'm like, not surprised because I know how long products take to make, and probably they started on this concealer before Eyeliner ever came into the picture. in terms of working with Too Faced. And you see these areas that are a little bit sheer towards the bottom? We want to just kind of like go over them today, make sure that everything is ultra full coverage. We just kind of like want to look very 2D and like a cartoon, but still very, very anime. I always say go for anime in real life looking rather than Western cartoon in real life looking. I just think it looks more effective and dynamic. And even though forehead won't really be seen, we're gonna do a little highlight there. I'm actually really excited to be doing this look. I recently got a subscription to that Disney streaming platform, and Gravity Falls was on there. And I'd seen a few episodes, but I hadn't seen anything long term. And I recently read that it was like actually a serialized story that had a beginning, a middle, and end. It wasn't like a Monster of the Week kind of deal. And then I saw it was only 2 seasons, so I was like, okay, guess I'm gonna watch this. And it was so good. I like binged it in like 3 days. Okay, we're gonna start by blending out the forehead. I think for this look, we're gonna go forehead, chin, jaw, and then under eye area. Chin. The reason I apply concealer the way I do, especially with characters like Dipper and Finn, is because they are Western cartoons, so we want our face to become quite flat looking, like almost like there are no shadows, and then we're going to put in artificial shadows to make our face and appearance look way more animated. If you just kind of go with like no contouring, completely natural shadows, it can work, but it can look very, very human. And at the end of the day, cartoon characters aren't humans. Even though they're like cartoons of humans, they are not humans, they're cartoons. So you kind of want to look more cartoony or animated. Next, we're going in with the Beauty Bakery Flower Setting Powder. I really just can't recommend this product enough for cosplayers. It just does the job well. It's so finely milled that it will just help to really set the makeup down. And I do bake now. For a while I didn't bake, but because I'm using the Too Faced foundation and because this is quite white, I can get away with baking. Okay, and now we're gonna brush everything off. We start from the bottom, work our way to the top, and we always brush upwards. Never brush down, just always brush up. Try and get coverage in the areas where we didn't put powder. But it's just so much better for the skin to brush upwards. Brushing upwards, for some reason, in my opinion, makes everything look way more airbrushed. I do not know why, it just does. And then there's going to be excess left on the brush, so I just like to make sure the areas we didn't set with powder get a bit of coverage. So right now we're kind of looking a little bit like a foot pretending to be a human, so we're going to go in with the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. This palette is so good for Gravity Falls. Like, that is Gravity Falls color palette. Throw in like a dark blue and that would be Gravity Falls. So I just kind of feel like this would be really good to just play with for the characters. I know I only just reviewed this, but you know what? If a palette works for a cosplay, it works for a cosplay. I've zoomed you guys in so you can see what's going on with the eyes. So we're going to start by going in with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in Anti-Aging. Pre-warning, this will take off quite a bit of coverage of the foundation in the eyes. Don't worry about that because honestly, foundation and concealer probably shouldn't be on the eyes anyway. They're not all eye safe. I don't think people realize that. The Too Faced ones are. But yeah, just blend this out and you will see it take off the foundation and concealer from the eyes. Really doesn't matter. We're covering the eyes of eyeshadow, so any undertones that are on the eyes will be well and truly masked. So we're going to start by going in with this peach butter color. And we're just going to coat the lid. Give ourselves a good base, an even starting point for the entire lid. And you can even take it like right up onto the brow bone a bit. I kind of usually do that, but not everyone really needs to do that. I do it, like I said, but not everyone needs to do it. Next, we're going to go in with Peach Tea. Next, we're going to coat our lid with Just Peachy. And for this shade, you can kind of like just go in really, really lightly till you get enough desired pigment. I really like this Just Peachy color because it's so buildable. Like, it can be like really, really vibrant if you want that, or it can be really, really subtle if that's what you're into. It's like perfect. Next, we're gonna go in with this peach cobbler color. Take this from the outer V along into the crease and just wing it out. Just to help give our eyes some like lift. Then we're going to take a clean fluffy brush and we're just going to help to blend that out from now rather than blending out as we go. Then we're going to go into peach meringue. We're going to take a colour packing brush and just press and drag this in. I did this the other day when I reviewed this palette and it really worked well, and I was not expecting it to work well because this typically doesn't work with eyeshadows, but Too Faced claims that these shadows had like some kind of like creamy formula, so I assumed that if you like press and drag like this it would work, because that's what something that's creamy should do, and it worked, so that claim stand up. Then we're going to take Peach Punch and we're going to take it along the waterline, because this is going to like represent the sort of like fine lines Dipper has. And it will just kind of bring in some like natural colour to our lower eye as well. We're going to take Just Right, and using a fluffy pencil brush, we're literally going to just very, very narrowly take it into this outer V area. You don't need much of it, it's just to give it some depth that isn't currently there. Sorry if you heard a difference just there. My microphone ran out of power for about 10 minutes, but it's back now. Just looked over and saw my preamp wasn't responding, so sorry about that. Then we're going to go in with the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Lip Pencil. So this, I believe, is actually eye safe. Do not quote me on that, look it up. I've been using it on my eyes for ages, so I will be devastated if it's not eye safe, but we're just going to use this on our lower waterline, and that just helps to get rid of some of the natural redness that's on the waterline. Not everyone has very red waterlines. You could entirely skip that step if you don't, but I just do, and use a shade that kind of matches your skin color. Next, we're going to go in with the Tattoo Liner by Kat Von D in black. I actually wanted to use brown, but I can't find my brown, so black's going to have to do, and I actually have to get in quite close to my mirror to do this part, so there won't be much talking. Cut to speeding through. Okay, so next we're going to go in with the Max Factor Masterpiece Mascara. For eyebrows, we're going to take the Kat Von D 24 Hour Super Brow in the color Blonde. I say this every time, but there are new people every time. This runs dark, so blonde will work for brown and so on. And I like to just shape out the brows before I start filling in hairs. But I'm also never too worried about getting perfect brows, because I don't like the look of perfect brows. If you do, that's cool, but I don't. And I'm the one doing this makeup. And once that's filled in, I'm just going to go in with a brow brush and just sort of comb that out, just to help it all blend in a little bit more. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Okay, so now that the eyes are done, it's time to move on to contouring. Like always, we're going to be using the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. We're going to be going in with these two colors exclusively because I'm too pale for the rest. I just like to tap in really lightly once, you don't need more than that. And Dipper's got quite a round face, so I don't really want to contour too much. Then do the jawline. We're going to take this lighter color just press that all in, and also take it up here along the top part of our cheekbones. Then we're going to take a big fluffy brush and just to help that all marry together a bit. So I keep looking at the brow bones and I keep thinking, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? And I realized I didn't do any highlight. So we're just going to quickly take peach meringue and we're just going to go in along the brow bone and around the perimeter of what we did earlier. And this will just help to soften everything out a lot. Got so excited with eyeliner that I forgot to soften everything out. So after that quick interlude, we're jumping back into the Shade and Light palette. We're going to take a fluffy angled brush and just do the nose contour real quick. Then we're going to go in with the lighter color, blend down the middle, and also on the sides here. And really just keep working at the contour till you've come up with a nose that you're happy with for this character. It will be different for everyone because everyone's got like a different nose. So just keep working at it until you're happy. Then we're going to take a Jeffree Star Cosmetics highlighter in Crystal Ball. And I really like this color of a dipper because it has like these pinky and bluey undertones while being very white and blinding in itself. So it's just kind of like, Gravity Falls has sort of like this undertone of very mystical things happening beyond the mystical things, and this color just sort of adds to that. I like to do my cheeks, my chin, bridge of the nose, and just the jawline a little bit. Not everyone does the jawline, but I like to. And then for our last step, we're going to go with the Too Faced Sweet Peach Oil in Peach Fuzz. I like to put this on by dotting it around a bit and then just sort of wiping off the excess and then going in, just so it's not too thick, but it is very present. And then finally, we're going to go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray and just set this all in place. And this is the final look. Although there's a lot of steps to this look, it's not exactly difficult to do. It's really fun to do. It's probably one of my more favorite cosplay looks to do, so I definitely recommend you try it. Even though I'm really new to the Gravity Falls community, I have to say the fandom has been spectacular so far. I really enjoyed interacting with the community on Tumblr, so I totally recommend you get into Gravity Falls. If not for the show, for the fandom, but like the show is so good, especially like when it gets to season 2, it gets so good. The first few episodes I found a little bit difficult to get into, I won't lie, but after that, I really recommend it. If you like sort of like 90s, late 80s aesthetic, it's a show for you. It's definitely a show for you. As for this look, I'll totally admit it's somewhat like of an aged up Dipper, but it's still Dipper. I think people could easily tell that this is supposed to be Dipper. Obviously, I didn't have a sleeveless jacket, so I'm just using this, and my red top has writing on it, so I'm sort of zipped it up to cover that writing. But aside from that, it's almost identical. But when I properly cosplay Dipper, I'll make sure to have the proper costume. If there are any cosplays you want to see me do, or brands you want to see me review, or even products you want to see me review, please let me know down there. And while you're here, why don't you just like check out this video, and why not subscribe? You've watched this entire video, you might as well subscribe and watch my other videos at this point. Like seriously, subscribe, you'll know when I upload. Watch this video, I've left it right there. It's so easy for you to watch. You've already seen all of Gravity Falls, so you might as well just watch this video.